Hello everyone, welcome again to another episode. Today we are going to talk about the tools and pencils and pen that I'm using in my YouTube channel to create these arts and drawings. And we are going to also review each one of them one by one, where to get it from, how to find them regardless of which country are you watching the video from, and how to use them properly. So we start with the pencils. So the pencils I'm using, or anyone can use, are so there are way too many different and way are too many brands and too many variants of pencil that you can use. But the best actually that you can go with, if you have a very small budget, because they are not too expensive. I think they cost around $35. I'm not sure, I'm gonna check afterwards, but around $35 or something like that. So it comes with with a box like that, and in it you can find different kind of pencils, including this as a technical pencil that you can use for shading. I'm gonna review it afterwards, of course, and sharpener, pencil sharpener, and eraser, of course. So the pencils that you can see here are way too many different variants of pencils. So they usually start with, let me just rotate it this way, they usually start with HB, B2, B4, B6, and up until B14. So this is like the small or the middle size package of Faber-Castell. There is a smaller version which includes HB, B4, and B8, if I remember it right, like only 3 or 4 of them, yeah. And there is the biggest one which actually includes really like way too many, like the double of this amount, which you don't technically need that. So because yeah, so B14, for example, gives you really like a very good dark tone. I'm gonna review it afterwards with you. But having the middle one, which includes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 variants of pencils, here is more than enough, if I'm being honest. So this brand is very good, and it's really strong when it comes to technical and the tones and the flexibility that you can actually, or you might need to, when you do your drawing. So before jumping into the ink section, so I'm gonna also review this mechanic pencil, which everyone uses on daily basis, I guess, especially if you are a student or yeah, you have a job that is related to office work or anything like that. You definitely are familiar with this very common technical pencil. And for this one, I actually use it for adding very small details into my drawing. I'm gonna review it afterwards, of course. Yeah, but now we can start just reviewing the Faber-Castell pencils and check as what HB gives us, what B2 and B4. Not all of them, maybe, for the sake of time of this video, but we can move like maybe step by step quickly. Let me start with HB. HB is actually the lowest tone, or the lightest tone that Faber-Castell pencils can give you. So let me start, for example, with a sphere. Yeah, so when I draw the sphere, I can shade it now with HB. As you see, HB gives me very light tone, not too dark. If I jump to B2 now, I draw another circle. Yeah, as you can see, I am actually trying to get the same, or to give my pencil the same pressure that I am putting on my pencil. Yeah, because if I put more pressure, I'm gonna, logically speaking, get get darker tone. So I'm trying to balance my pressure and make it unique in all of these squares, to show you actually the different tone that Faber-Castell pencil gives us. Yeah. Here we go. And this video is not sponsored by Faber-Castell, by the way, at all. So just yeah, it's just like pencils that I really love to use. They are really super useful, and especially if you are an advanced artist or if you are a beginner, you can feel the difference between the like $1 or 50-cent pencil and the Faber-Castell. And they are not too pricey, if I'm being honest, because if this version is a little bit pricey for you, you can go with the lower version, which actually comes with 4 or 3 pencil, or you can buy these individually. So like only like 1 or 2 pencils, so you don't have to get the whole baggage per se, you know. So P4, as you see now, P4 is higher than P2. So P4, the higher I go with the number, the darker the tone it will be. So this is P4. Let's move to P6. I think it's going to be worth it to go through all of them to show you really the difference. That so with the same pressure I am putting on my pencil, as you can clearly see, my tone is actually getting darker and darker. So now we can go with B8. And B10. I need to sharpen it a little bit, sorry. Here we go. So now from B8 to B14, it's gonna get really dark. You will notice. See? And now B12. Here we go. And B14. So with the same amount of pressure I'm putting on my pencil, I get this kind of variant of tones, as you see. But of course, I can increase my pressure on my pencil to get even darker, as you see here, and even darker and darker. I'm just like increasing the pressure of my pencil, yeah? See? It can really give me as dark as I want, yeah? But you have to be careful with B14, B12, and B10, because it can go, like if you are seeking to get really, really light shading, like for example, this one, yeah? So this area, you definitely need like HB or B2. If you use B14, it's going to be really hard to control, because B14, it gives us really dark tone. Like for example, B14 or B12 or B10, it's going to be super useful for this area, for example, yeah? So now if I want to make it even darker, I can actually, or maybe the eyes, just a little bit darker, I can. Yeah, why I'm recommending you to be careful to choose which tone you are using, because when you use B14, for example, or B12, and you try to erase it, I'm gonna review this eraser, okay, afterwards. As you see, it doesn't matter how much I try, it's really difficult to get to 100% get rid of it. That's why it's recommended to actually pay attention of the tone that you are using and for what exactly. So another example might be, for example, this curtain, yeah? So for this curtain, as you see here, where so the light is hitting from this direction, yeah, logically speaking, because I can see the light is coming from this area and hitting these surfaces, which causes these surfaces to be brighter, and these surfaces is being darker due the shadow that is being casted here in that area. So if I use B14 or B12 here for these surfaces where the light is hitting, it's going to be really difficult to control because it gives us very hard tone. But this will be useful to use it though in the dark area where the shadow is actually being casted. Like for example, this one, I can make it a little bit darker, or this one, see, to add even more details. So there is a reasonable reason why FABER-CASTELL gives us this kind of variety of pencils, because each one of them should be used based on your need and the area or the reason why you are using like P4 or P4 or P6. Yeah, so for mostly if you want to if you want to have very general rule, you can say up from P6 to P14 you can use it for shading, for shadow area, like where the shadow is being casted. For example, this here, I can make it a little bit darker, as you see, and it gets darker and gives me really very nice shading that I need. But even P14 is a little bit dangerous here to use, because I need these highlights. I don't want to lose them, yeah. So if you feel so, you can go lower to B12, B10, and so on and so on. So yeah, the eraser that I used is also from FABER-CASTELL, but you definitely don't necessarily need that. Yeah, I like to use it because it's kind of like not the very normal common eraser that you use, like this one that everyone has, but actually it's kind of like unique shape. As you see, you can actually change its shape based on the area that you want to erase. Like for example, if you want to erase all of that, you can just change the shape a little bit and do this. If you want to add some highlights here, you can actually make it pointy a little bit, as you see here, as I did, and do this to add some highlights into your carton. Or if you want to even like smaller details, you can do this, yeah, and just try to slightly remove the area that you need, and so on and so on. And yeah, it's not useful only for that, but also if you feel like, for example, going back to our circle, yeah, if you feel that the tone that you put, it's way too dark, you can actually reduce this by actually doing this. Just absorb it a little bit. As you see, now it gets lighter. If I do this again, it gets lighter. As you see, I'm just absorbing the tone a little bit. With this very common normal one, it's not possible. It's really not possible, because with this you can just erase here, as you see. So you can erase like the whole tone itself, but you cannot actually reduce the darkness of it. And this is where this eraser comes in play. So, but as I said, you don't necessarily have to have it, but it's nice to have. You can try it out if you want. And if you feel it gets dirty, you can just like smash it a little bit, yeah, and reshape it. And yeah, voila, it's clear again. Anyway, but again, it's not a must, but it's nice to have. Yeah, here we go. Yeah, so this as a unique one comes also with the FABER-CASTELL, sorry. So this is actually meant to be for shading, to give you very smooth gradients, yeah, which is useful, for example, sometimes for hair, for curtain, for example, like, let me just show you this one, like for example, to draw to add these highlights, to add this very nice gradient, or maybe our curtain again here. Yeah, and the way of using it is actually not difficult. So it's actually when you have a dark tone, for example this one, let's say let's have another circle, okay, another sphere. We have this sphere, right? So now just reduce this a little bit, and the light is coming from this area. It means these surfaces are going to be highlighted and these surfaces are going to be dark. So let's assume we have the dark area, we have the shadow. So we have some tones here. Yeah, I'm doing very quick shading, okay, not in detail per se. And the way of using this one is actually, if I do this, as you see, it's actually giving me very nice gradients and reducing this very ugly contrast between the highlighted area and the shadow area. And this is where this magic pencil actually comes in play. See, it's actually giving me very nice highlights as the light is coming from this area and start to fade out as far as I go to the shadow area. Yeah, see, the more I use it over and over again, the more it reduces this ugly contrast. See, now I can come back again to add even darker tone. And use it over again. It reduces the contrast and at the same time gives us very nice gradient. Here we go. And as you see, using the pencil alone without this magic pencil, this kind of effect is almost impossible, because as you see here, it's way too smooth. It doesn't matter how light my pressure is gonna be, it's not possible to get this effect, this smooth gradient, because of the shape of the pencil. And that's where we need actually this very smooth surfaces that actually breaks this contrast and gives us what we need. Here we go. And now I can erase this where the highlighted area are with my eraser. And as you see, now actually it does look like the light is coming from this area, and here is where the shadow is being casted, and so on and so on. And this is super useful. So this unique is super useful. I don't use it personally. I don't use it too much because I like to try to get my shading only with my pencils, but it's just a personal technique. Yeah, it doesn't necessarily means for you that you don't have to use it. You can use it, of course. You can try it out. It's actually fun playing with it from time to time and see what this pencil gives us. But yeah, as I said, I personally don't use it a lot. But yeah, here we go. So for example, like our cartoon, yeah, let's try to add some shading here. Here we go. I'm just making it a little bit darker here. And now we have this ugly contrast that we can actually break with this pencil. See, now it's getting smoother and smoother. And now I can add some more details with my eraser. If you don't have it, you can use this one. It's also possible. But do you see, you clearly see the difference. This one is giving us way too hard contrast here in compared to this one. See? in compared to this one actually you can actually control how your contrast is gonna look like. See, here we go. Another example will be our friend Pikachu, maybe. For example, I can increase the darkness of this area on the tail. Yeah, so if I increase it a little bit, here we go. Maybe on that area as well, and here. And I can use my unique pencil again to actually break this down. To break this contrast, you know? Or for example, this one, I can see clearly like the contrast isn't really looking nice. So I can break it a little bit to make it smoother. See? It actually gives us this very nice gradient. And if I feel that I lost my highlights here, I can use my eraser again. And here we go. Start to reduce it. And voila, we get it. So this is all about my pencils and the pencils that I use in my art channel. Of course, there are, as I said, Faber-Castell is not the only brand on the market. You definitely can find way much more brands that you can use, but Faber-Castell is one of the best actually when it comes to drawing and pencil drawing especially. Yeah, of course they have watercolor, they have eraser and another like other art suppliers, but yeah, they are really known of making or creating very nice and very nice looking and good quality pencils. So I'm gonna link the product link before, so in the video afterwards. Yeah, so regardless of from which country you are watching the video, you will be able to find them because they are available in every art suppliers or in Amazon maybe. So I'm gonna also link the Amazon link afterwards for this product. So next is going to be our pens. So the ink pen that I'm using are not too many because as you know, my channel is actually focusing on the pencil drawing, but nevertheless I'm sometimes also using ink drawing to create different kind of art, like for example this one, or maybe as you saw, or if you are familiar with my channel, we also covered how to draw clothes using inkle. It's like sketching, and or even like in the last few videos we also did some videos, very simple videos for like how to create very simple cute animals, and especially for very beginner people, like the simplest way of creating this kind of art. And yeah, so coming back to the supplies and tools that I'm using. So the tools that I'm using actually, first, so I have 3 pencils. I'm gonna also link the link of this product below afterwards. I'm not sure if you are able to find the exact same, because I'm actually located in Japan, and I don't know if you will be able to find it in your country, but you will definitely find very similar one, because the most common one are actually the same and function the same way. So if I don't link for you the very same product, I'm gonna link very similar one to you in that video. Yeah, so I'm gonna check it afterwards, and you can find them the below the so in the video description. Yeah, here we go. So the ones that I'm using are actually three. The first one is 01, as you see here. The second one is 03, and the third one is 05. They are different. So the 01 is actually the tiniest one. So as you see here we go. Now it's a little bit clearer. So it's way too tiny and way too small. The 03 is a little bit thicker, and the 05 is even thicker. So let me show you here what this does. So the 01, here we go. The 01, if I use it here, as you see, it creates for me very thin, nice looking lines. Yeah, the 03 is a little bit thicker. You can clearly see the difference, right? And the 05 is even thicker. There we go. And of course you can go so it can go even lower than 05, 01, by the way. It can go to 001, 002, 003, which is like super tiny, and it's actually used for architecture usually, like when architects draw the very old-fashioned way of drawing blueprints, and architects, they actually use them a lot to generate the blueprint for the architecture. So this is where actually it's being mostly used. Yeah, but now everything is getting automated and in a digital way, where they create the blueprints not anymore on paper, but actually in CADs and all of these kind of softwares. It's not our topic, of course, today, but I'm just like showing you or telling you where are these pen are being used. And yeah, so in our drawing, for example, as you see here, so for this drawing, actually I used all of them. So 01 is actually to add this shading, very small shading, as you see here, very small shaded area. And 03 is a little bit thicker to actually add some more details into the objects that I'm having in my drawing. Like for example, the purse, the clothing, the buttons, the skirt. Yeah, so these main lines that actually constructing my drawing, my shape, my object. And the 05 is actually the thickest one, as we said. I used it actually to add some more thicker lines where the shadow is being casted, like for example this one, this area, or maybe these two stripes, or maybe these shaded area as well, as you see, or maybe the inner side of the sleeves. I need them to be dark, right? Because I need to feel that there's going to be shadow casted there. And for that, using 01 is way too thin. So that's why I went to 05, which is a little bit thicker. I can add even more, as you see here, more shading and so on. Here we go. So let me just, for example, show you a very simple example of using the three of them. You can use two, of course. You can use one. It's really up to you. Yeah, you can use 10 because it doesn't stop by 0. It doesn't stop by 05, by the way. It goes to 09, to 1, to 2, to 3. It can get really like as thick as you need it. Yeah, but for that session, so for today's session, we are gonna stick with only 3. Yeah, because this is what I'm using in my channel. So 01. Let's start with 01. So let's try to draw a box. because I need to show you exactly what these does, okay? And so I'm gonna draw 3 squares. Yeah, so the first one I'm gonna use the thinnest one, which is 0, 1. Yeah, so if I shade now, as you see, it looks really thin, right? The 0, 3 is gonna look thicker. And the 0, 5 is even thicker. As you can clearly see, they have different tone and they give us different tones. So you might ask yourself, why on earth do I need actually 3 or 2 or different kind of pen? You actually need it because especially if you want to draw something like very advanced, yeah, not for beginners, but actually, for example, like if we have a rock, yeah, like simple rock, let's try to create very simple rock. Yeah, it goes, for example, this way, then all to the ground. This is the ground, by the way, and this is the stone, for example. So let's assume our light is coming from this direction. Yeah, so it means all of these surfaces are going to be actually looking bright, and these areas are going to be darker and darker. So I start with 0, 1, yeah, to add some shading here and here and in that surface as well. And there. And here as well. And here. And to there as well. Here we go. So now I used only 0, 1, by the way. Yeah, or 0, 3, sorry. So now 0, 1, like the thinner one, I can add it to actually add some shading which needs to be thinner than the one I used previously. Very, very light one. Here we go. Super, super light. Yeah. See? Now, so with 0, 5, I can add darker shading, which is going to be the darkest areas in my stone. Here we go. And as you see, now the stone is getting constructed, is getting created by these 3 variants of pen that I'm using, 0, 1, 0, 3, and 0, 5. The logic is not difficult. The logic is simple. The darkest area, then you need the highest number. And the lower area, or yeah, so the lightest area where the light is hitting, you use the thinnest one, which is actually the 0, 1. Yeah. So besides these 3 pens that I'm using, 0, 1 and 0, 5, 0, 3 and 0, 5, let me just place them this way for you. Beside these 3, I'm using 2 other pencils. Sorry. The first one, so both of them have this brush looking pen. So, but they are a little bit different though. So the first one is actually this one, and it's, as you see here, sorry, it's written in Japanese, but it's actually it's called like a brush pen, which is, as you see here, the brush icon on it. So you definitely, so if you are not located in Japan, you might not find it, of course, but you definitely will be able to find a different one, like different brand, but very simple, very same functionality and very same use, like very same brush, but different branch in your country, in any art supplies. And I'm gonna also link a very similar product to this one, because as I said, I'm located in Japan, so you might not find it in your country. So for that reason, I'm gonna link very similar one to this one in the video description below. And yeah, it's gonna be like Amazon or something very commonly used by all people, yeah, platform. So what this does, as you see here, it's actually looking thick, yeah, and it's actually giving us this kind of brush looking lines, so strokes, let's call it strokes. So if, as you see here, with the very pointy head, if I drew line, I can get very thin one. If I increase my pressure, I get thicker one. If I increase it even more thicker, even more thicker and thicker, as you see, with the very same pen. That's why we call it a brush, and it's super handy, and especially if you are advanced artist, because you can actually control the line that you are drawing at the same time. So based on your, see, based on the drawing and your needs. Here we go. So with the same line, actually, I'm creating the thin one, the thicker, then the even thicker, and go lower again to the thin, and so on, so on. And this is actually very useful for all kind of drawings that you are using. For example, let's go back to our clothing here. So if I want to like very thick one here in this shaded area, as you see, I'm actually able to get that. And the lower, or the more I go out of this shaded area, I release my pressure, my pen pressure, and like for the same for this one, yeah, I start with the very thick one, then I reduce it a little bit. And as you see, it actually gives us very nice realistic shading, because the realistic speaking, so in the real life shading, physically speaking, it actually functions this way. Yeah, it starts with the very shaded area, very big shadow, then it start to get reduced and to start to fade out the closer you go to the light area, yeah, to the light source. So for example, I can now start with the thin line here and increase the pressure a little bit. Thin area, increase the pressure a little bit. As you see here, it actually gives us very nice looking shading, yeah. The same for this one, and so on. So you don't necessarily have to use this very thick one, yeah. You can actually use it only for highlighting your drawing as well. So as you see here, what I'm doing, so once you are finished, as you see, now I'm adding some more details into my, or maybe these wrinkles. I can add some wrinkles here. Here we go. Going back to our stone example, if I want to use this one, so I'm gonna use it actually for carefully to add some very nice looking details here. Strokes, let's call it strokes, yeah, to give me this kind of feeling, you know. I just ask myself where the shadow is being casted, then I can add some strokes here. Yeah. The same as for the surface that actually touches the ground. See, I can also, this one, using this one is super handy now, because actually I can create this dark area and make it fading out the more I go there, to the closer to the light source. This is the light, by the way. Yeah. Here we go. So the different pen but similar one though that I'm using is actually this one. It's also brush, and the only difference between this one and this one is actually only thicker. As you see, it's even bigger and way thicker than that one. So using that is a little bit difficult because you really have to be familiar with this brush. But once you get familiar with it and try it out again and again, it's really super useful. And even if you are a beginner, it doesn't necessarily mean that you have it to be like a perfect professional artist to use it. You can use it, okay? You can try it out. The same this one functions is actually the same as this one, exactly the same. Yeah, it's just like bigger and thinner and gives us like wider strokes. So as you see here, I can use it for very thin lines. Let's show it here. Thin lines, thicker, and even thicker. Yeah, so with this one, it might be really difficult to get very super thin one because the stroke and the brush is way thinner, way bigger and thicker than the other one. But this one is super useful to add, for example, very big strokes. Like for example, if I want to generate really big shadow here, I can use this one actually. Here we go. See? For creating this shadow, using one of these is going to be super difficult because they are way too thin. And that's why I use now this brush, which actually gives us what we need. And the same goes for example, this building. Yeah. If I want to adjust this building to add even more details, like for example, here. So adding some strokes. Beside the window or inside the window, the ceiling from the bottom, even some shadows. Here we go. See, it actually gives us a really nice shading. Yeah, but if you use it, you should be careful a little bit, because if you overdo it and use it a lot, you might end up having your drawing, all of your drawing is very dark. And so that's why you have to be careful a little bit and switch back and forth between all of these together. Yeah, like sometimes this one, sometimes the thinner one. This one is super useful also for trees. Like for example, if I want to draw trees now, yeah, let's say we start with the 0 one. So trees, I'm gonna actually create, I'm gonna make a specific video only for trees. But as we are talking about these pens, we can actually take very simple example without deep diving into too much details. Yeah, so we start with the branch, the big branch of the tree. Then the branch goes to even little branch, and littler and littler and littler, as I'm doing now. As I said, I'm gonna create a specific video only for trees, because drawing trees is very important, and there are too many different kind of trees that we can draw, and I'm gonna cover it in different video. But yeah, as we are talking about this, let's review this example. So this is the main branch, and the main branch goes to littler branches, sorry, plural. Here we go. And these branches goes to even littler and littler branch, like more smaller and smaller branches. And this is actually how trees are created. Smaller and smaller and smaller. Here we go. And we have maybe some grass here. I'm still using 01, okay? I didn't switch it yet. I didn't change it yet. And so on. So now we can move on to, for example, 03 or 05. It's really up to you, yeah? To highlight these main branch together with these grasses. Here we go. Just highlighting, making it a little bit darker. And again, we can go back to 01 to create the leaves. Very simple, okay? I'm gonna ask you to not care about creating this tree now for this session, because as I said, I am going to cover drawing trees in a different specific session only for trees, yeah, because I'm actually planning to cover as many scenarios that's gonna be helpful for you as possible, yeah. So this is the leaves, for example, yeah, very simple. We keep it simple now. And now I can use this one, a little bit thicker one, to even add more details here to the grass as well, to the main branch, and maybe add some thick strokes that gives me this depth, you know, in my branches, like for example here or here, exactly at the corners, yeah, because trees are actually built this way, where the branch where two branches gets together, it gets really thick here. I'm gonna explain that in the next video. Don't worry about these details. I'm just showing you the use of these pencils, okay, for now. And for the trees video, we are going to use also pencil as much as also pen. So we are going to be using both, don't worry. So now I can add some details to the leaves, just a little bit, yeah, strokes. Going back to the branches as well. And now I can go back to 01, because I'm gonna add some, like assuming the light is coming from that area, from the top, yeah. So this here is going to be actually dark, the leaves, yeah. where the shadow is being casted. Don't care about too much details I'm explaining now regarding trees. It's gonna be covered in the next video. Just focus on the use of these pencils that I'm doing now, that I'm using now. Here we go. Yeah, so keeping it simple, this is the way how it works, of using, switching back and forth between all of these pens, which is super useful because as you see here, using different kind of tones, it gives me the option or the ability to add as much details as I want. Maybe even a little bit of leaves from behind for the backside to make the tree, our tree, even richer. Here we go. So small branches to add even more details, and so on and so on. So this is the way how it works, using all of these pencils and pen. And yeah, so these highlighters are not in use for now, so I'm not really using them, so you can ignore them. So this is actually what I'm mainly focusing on, the pencils, the Faber-Castell pencils, as I showed you here, and the three pencils that have different tones, 01 and 03 and 05, and these two brushes, and this mechanical pencil, which I usually use to add. We didn't cover it too much in this video, but if you watch my videos, previous videos about how to draw hairs, you're gonna be able to see actually how to use this. So the way of using it's actually pretty simple to this, similar to this one, but using mechanical pencil, it gives you the option to add these very small, tiny details, especially if you are drawing hair or a fabric or a wall or any kind of fabric, yeah, that has this very small tiny details. And for that you can use your mechanical pencil to add these details for your hair, yeah, and especially this very tiny one. Using these thick pencils is going to be really difficult to control that, because only mechanical pencil, which has very pointy head, gives us this option, yeah. So in general, this is what I'm using in my channel. Like for example, let's take another, like let's review few examples. So for that, for this hair, I used Faber-Castell together with the mechanical pencil to add these details. For this plastic or paper bag, I used only Faber-Castell. Yeah, maybe sometimes mechanical pencil, but it's not too much. The way I imagine using it is actually for these very small details, yeah. Another example will be our characters here, or maybe curtain, our squirrel, so these Pokemons. I used also Faber-Castell pencils together with the mechanical pencil, yeah. For these very small and quick sketches, I used also Faber-Castell with a thick one without using any mechanical pencil. For this example, I used Faber-Castell together with this. It doesn't come out, sorry. Here we go. Together with this magical pencil to actually get this kind of water smooth feeling gradient, yeah. The same for this one as well, and so on. So as you see here, like having very, not too much, not too many, but actually few tools gives you the opportunity to be able to actually create or generate as many drawing as you want, in different kind of styles. Because as you see here, it's also all my drawings here that I generated and are created for this channel until now are not in one style, but actually they have different styles, as you see. So the message that I want to deliver to you is, if you want to create or experiment different drawing styles, it doesn't necessarily mean that you have to have full table, or full table of, or a table full of equipment, and you have to spend a lot of money. It doesn't necessarily mean that. You can have really few pencils, few pen, mechanical pencil, and a razor, and that's it. Only few tools, if you know how to use them, is going to be more than enough to create as many drawing styles as you need. And that's the reason why I actually try to cover as many styles, drawing styles in my channel for you as much as I can, because I know sometimes might not like to draw this kind of style, but you might prefer this style, yeah? Or if not this style, you might prefer this style. Or if not this one, you might prefer the quick one, or the sketching one, yeah? Not drawing and shading per se, but actually like more sketching more, because drawing is not sketching. Sketching is very quick sketching to construct your drawing, yeah? But drawing is actually when it comes to shading and adding these kind of details. So each one of you, of course, prefers different style, and this is what my channel is meant to be, or this is why my channel is for, to actually introduce you to the drawing world and to give you this kind of opportunity. And especially if you are a beginner, and like super beginner, yeah, and even if you haven't tried drawing before at all, you will be able with my channel to learn how to draw, and to be able actually to draw anything that you want, or the objects that you want to draw. Yeah, this is it from my side today. So I hope reviewing my tools that I'm using in my channel was useful for you. And as I said, I'm gonna link all of these products, if not the same, but very similar one to these products, in the description, in the video description below, and you can check it out. And as I said, none of these products I'm not sponsored by none of these products for today's video. It's just like few tools that I like to use, and I want to help you get them out and actually, yeah, try to experiment with them, because they are really useful. And as you see, all of these drawings that you see, I didn't show all my drawings, by the way, because I have too many, but all of these drawings are created by only these tools. I didn't use anything else. Yeah. So I hope it was useful. I would highly appreciate it too if you support my channel, if you can subscribe my channel and like the video, and share it if you want, of course, to help me keep being motivated to create this content for you for free, of course. So yeah, consider subscribing my channel to support me going further with my channel, and create even more videos, and that's going to be helping you to get better and better with drawing and being an artist, and not only following my techniques, but actually to be able to even figure out and come up with your own techniques as an artist, or as a professional artist as well. Because artists, even professional artists, learn from each other and get inspired from each other. So I hope my channel is useful. If you are learning anything, just try to consider subscribing my channel. And yeah, I hope it was useful. Try it out, have fun, And thank you very much for watching. See you in the next session. Bye bye.